So we're still in book 6.1b and we're on page 3. We're starting to solve equations by adding and subtracting. So let's go to question 1. Okay, so to solve an equation, it really means to get x by itself. So we have to get x alone. So the first thing we do is we cut the equation at the equal sign to find the left and the right side. Okay, and we go, what side is x on? He's on the left. So let's cover up the right. If x wants to be alone, we have to get rid of the 7 and the 3. But we have to decide which one to get rid of first. And we always get rid of the one that we have to add and subtract first before we do multiply and divide. And how I remember that is, if I have a very good friend, like my best friend, and I have a neighbor, and I have to get rid of one of them, would I get rid of my best friend or would I get rid of the neighbor first? Yeah, we get rid of the neighbor first. I'm going to keep my best friend close. So this is like me, and here's 7. My 7 is the best friend because he's very close. The neighbor's far away. So I'm going to always get rid of the neighbor first. Okay? So I have to get rid of this subtract 3. So what we want to do is we want to make a 0 to get rid of it. So if I lose 3, if I want to get rid of it, if I add 3, I do the opposite, it makes 0. So what I want to do is add 3 to this side. Let me do it in pink. If I add 3 to this side of the equation, it gets rid of it. But this is like a mizan, a scale. And if I add 3 kilos to this side, I have to add 3 kilos to the right side as well to keep it equal, to keep it balanced. So if I add 3, I do the same thing over here. So on the left side, all I have is 7x. And here on the right side, I have 11 plus 3 is 14. So there's 2 different ways to finish this. You can go, 7 times what is 14? 7 times what is 14? X has to be equal to 2. Maybe you don't know. Maybe you're sleepy. Okay? Or maybe the numbers are big. So what you want to do is, we know that 7 over 7 equals 1. Same over same equals 1. So what I do to get rid of my best friend, I just make it into this fraction, 7 over 7. But because it's a mizan, it's a scale, if I divide this side by 7, I must divide this side by 7. So 7 divided by 7 is 1. And 14 divided by 7 is 2. Okay, but we don't have to write the 1. The 1 hides, so we can just write it like this. Okay, let's look at question 2. So the first thing we do is we cut it in half at the equal sign to give left side and right side. And we go, what side is the x on? He's on the left. So let's cover this up. So here, the 4 is the best friend because he's close. The neighbor is far, is the 3 because he's far. So if we have to get rid of a best friend or a neighbor, who are we going to get rid of first? The neighbor. We want to keep our best friend, so I have to get rid of the neighbor. So I always have to do opposite. So I have to think of this as I'm losing 3. What's the opposite of losing 3? Plus 3. So negative 3 plus these are opposites. So you have to think of it as a mizan, a scale. If I'm adding 3 kilograms to the left side, I have to add 3 kilograms to the right side. So add 3 to this side. Okay, so 3 subtract 3 is 0, so my neighbor's gone. So now I have 4x equals 24. 21 plus 3 is 24. There's my best friend. So there's 2 ways to solve this. You can go, 4 times what is 24? 4 times 6. So you can say x has to be equal to 6. Or we can make a fraction 4 over 4 because 4 is our best friend. X wants to be alone, so we have to get rid of our best friend 4. So we make the fraction 4 over 4 because 4 over 4 equals 1. So now that becomes 1x. Okay, that's 1x. But if I divide this side by 4, I have to divide this side by 4. And 24 divided by 4 is 6. Okay? And 1x is the same as just x. Okay, so I don't have to write it like this. I can just write it x equals 6. Let's go down and we'll do number 5. Oops. Okay. Okay. So we have to cut it at the equal sign to make a left and a right. Which side is the x on? He's on the left. Okay. So which one is the best friend and which one is the neighbor? The best friend is close to x and the neighbor's far away. So we always get rid of the neighbor first. So what's the opposite of negative 9? Opposite is like black, white, short, tall, girl, boy, negative, positive. So here I have to go, what's the opposite of negative 9? Positive 9. And if I add 9 kilos to the left side, I have to add 9 kilograms to the right side. 9 subtracts 9 is 0. So now I have on the left side 11x equals 35 plus 9 is 44. So you can go, 11 times what is 44? 11 times 4 is 44. So I can go x equals 4. Or you can go, who's my best friend? 11 is my best friend. So I have to make the fraction 11 over 11 equals 1. So I put the bottom on the fraction. See, now I have the same fraction. So that's equal to 1. So, but if I divide this side by 11, I have to divide that side by 11. So now this is 1x. And 44 divided by 11, let's check. 44 over 11 is 4. Same, but we don't have to write the 1, so we can just write it this way. You can also put it in your calculator, just go by going 44 divided by 11. It's the same thing. Okay, let's look at the next one. Okay, so first we have to cut it at the equal sign to make a left and a right. What side is the x on? He's on the right side this time. That's okay. What's the only number that can hide? 1. So there's a 1. So that's the neighbor here because he's far away. The 1 is the best friend because he's close, and the neighbor's far. So we have to get rid of the neighbor. So what's the opposite of negative 8? Opposite, black, white, short, tall, boy, girl, negative, positive. So here we do the opposite. This one's negative, this is positive. We always do the opposite. But if I add 8 to the right side, I have to add 8 to the left side. So now 26 plus 8 is 34. This is 0 because 8 minus 8 is 0, so that's gone, and I'm only left with 1x. So 1x equals 34. 1x equals 4. So I can just write this x equals 34. Halas, I'm done. There was no best friend to get rid of. Okay. Let's go to the next page. Let's do number 10. Let's do number 10. So we cut it at the equal sign to make a left side and a right side. What side is x on? He's on the left. Okay, so which one's the close friend and which one's the neighbor? The close friend is close to the x. That's the best friend. And that's the neighbor. So I have to get rid of the neighbor. What's the opposite of positive 7? Negative 7. So to get rid of this one, I have to go subtract 7. So here, if I have negative 7 plus 7, those are opposite, so it makes 0. But if I subtract 7 from the left side, I have to subtract 7 from the right side as well. So that's 0, and they're gone. And on the left side, I only have 3x equals 25 subtract 7 is 18. And then here's my best friend. And I can go, 3 times what is 18? 3 times, is it 6, 7, 6? So you can think about it and find it. Or you can go, to get rid of my best friend, the 3, I have to go 3 over 3 equals 1. So divide that by 3, because that makes 1. But don't forget, you have to do the other side as well. So that's 1x equals, and 18 divided by 3 is 6. So there's 2 different ways to find the answer. Let's go to question 13. So we cut it at the equal sign to make our left side and our right side. And then we say, what side is the x on? He's on the left. Okay, so here's my best friend because he's close, and here's my neighbor. So that means I have to get rid of the neighbor first. But he's plus 16, so what's the opposite of plus 16? Yeah, negative 16. So I'm going to take 16 off this side. So I took 16 off this side. There's my mizan, my scale. So now I have to take 16 kilograms off this side, the right side. So 16 subtract 16, 0. Because I can go negative 16 plus 16. They're opposite, so it makes 0. So now on my left side, I only have the 7x. And then on the right side, 16, oh, that's 0. That's okay, looks weird. So now I have to think 7 times what is 0? 7 times 0 is 0, so x has to equal 0. Or I can say, what's my best friend, 7 or 0? 7's my best friend because he's close to x. So I have to make 7 over 7. I have to make that fraction. So I'm going to put the bottom on both sides. So 7 over 7 is 1. So that's 1x. This says the cake is cut into 7 pieces, but I have 0 pieces of cake. Because maybe my brothers came in the middle of the night and ate all the cake. So there's no cake left, so it's just 0. But I don't have to write this 1, so it's just really x equals 0. Let's do 14. Okay. So I have to cut it at the equal sign to make a left and a right. What side is x on? X is on the left. So the 5 is like the best friend because he's close to the x, and the 10 is the neighbor because he's kind of far away. So I'm going to get rid of the 10. But this is, I lose 10, subtract 10. What's the opposite of subtract 10? Yeah, add 10. So I'm going to add 10 to this side. And then I added 10 to the left side. So now I have to add 10 to the right side. Okay, 10 subtract 10 is 0, so that's gone. So my left side, I have 5x. Oh, 10 subtract 10, that's also 0. It's the same as this question over here. 5 times what is 0? 5 times 0, so x has to equal 0. Or you can just say, who's my best friend, 5 or 0? 5 is my best friend because he's close to x. So 5 over 5, how much is that? Yeah, it's equal to 1. So that's 1x equals, this in my calculators, 0. So x has to equal 0. Let's go to the next page. Let's do question 24. We're on page 5. Okay, so we have to solve this equation. So we cut it at the equal sign to make a left and a right. What side is the x on? The x is on the right side. So this is, the 12 is like my best friend because he's close to the x, and the neighbor's kind of far away. So I always have to get rid of the neighbor first. So this one's plus 40. So what's the opposite of plus 40? Opposite, black, white, short, tall, positive, negative. So I have to go subtract 40 from this side. Now I go to the other side, to my left side, and I have to go minus 40. So 40 minus 40 is 0. So on my left side, I have a minus 40 and a positive 4. So how much is that? minus 40 plus 4. So here I have to put a subtract 36 equals, I have my 12x, and that's a 0, so it's gone. So now I say, who's my best friend? 12 or 36? 12 is, because it's next to the x. So now I have to get rid of my best friend. So I'm going to make the fraction 12 over 12 to get rid of my best friend. But I have to do it, I have to divide the other side by 12 as well. 12 divided by 12 is 1. So on the x is on this side, so I have 1x here. This in my calculator, let's put it in. It's minus 3. So you can use the fraction button, or you can go minus 36 divided by 12 equals minus 3. So you can use the button, or you can use divide. So here, we don't write the 1, so we just go x equals minus 3. That's the answer. Okay, let's go to the next page. Let's go to page 6. Okay. Let's go to question 31. So Fatma and Ali got different answers when they tried to solve the same equation. So this is what Fatma did, and this is what Ali did, but they both got different answers. He got -4 and she got 4. Who is correct and why? So you have to see who's correct. And I'll tell you, Fatma made a mistake. So Ali did it correctly. So something here is wrong. So pause the video and see if you can find out what's wrong, what's missing. Really pause it for a second and then have a look. Okay, so now that you've unpaused it, maybe you found this negative. See this? This says I lose 2x. Here, it's not I lose anymore. I have to be careful not to lose those negatives. If there's a negative up there or a subtract up there, pull it down with it. Because this is I lose 2, I need to lose 2. See? Ali, he brought his negative down, or his subtract down. So on this page, you have to be careful because there's going to be some negatives that you need to bring down, and if you forget, you'll get it wrong. Okay? So don't forget to bring your negatives down. So let's look at question 32. So everything's the same as before. Cut it at the equal sign to make the left and the right. And you say, what side is the x on? The x is on the left. So cover it up. There's the best friend 4 because he's close to the x. And the 23 is far away, so he's the neighbor. So I have to get rid of the 23. There's nothing in front of the 23, so he's positive. So what's the opposite of positive 23? Yeah, negative 23. Because if I have negative 23 and positive 23, that makes 0 when I add them together. So if I take 23 kilos off this side, I have to take 23 kilos off the right side. So that's 0. So I'm left with 4x equals 27 minus 23 is 4. Wait a minute. I forgot my subtract, just like Fatma. See how I lose 4x? Make sure you bring that little subtract down as a negative. Because that says I lose 4. I lose 4. I have to have that negative in there. So then I say, who's my best friend? Negative 4x, because it's beside the x. So I need to make that fraction, negative 4 over negative 4, that's equal to 1. So I'm going to make the fraction negative 4 over negative 4. Some people don't put the negative, but that's not the same. It has to be exactly the same. So if that's negative 4, that has to be negative 4. So then you do the exact same to the other side. This, same over same, is 1. So now I have 1x. Wait a minute, I don't have to write the 1. I can just write x. And then this in my calculator, let's do 4 over negative 4 minus 1. Okay. Let's do question 34. So cut it at the equal sign to make a left and a right. And you say, what side is x on? X is on the left. Who's the neighbor? Is it 6 or 8? Yeah, it's the 6, because the 6 is far away. He's far away, so let's get rid of the neighbor. There's nothing in front of the 6. If there's nothing in front of the 6, it means it's a positive 6. So what's the opposite of positive 6? Yeah, minus 6. So I'm going to minus 6 from this side. And I have to minus 6 from the other side, the right side. So I'm going to go minus 6. So here, let's write it down. 8x equals 30 minus 6 is 24. Oops, don't forget your minus. Look, this is lose 8. I lose 8. I need to lose 8. Okay, so be careful. Bring that negative down. Then I say, who's my best friend? 8 or 24? Yeah, 8's my best friend because it's close to the x. So I have to make the fraction using the 8. So I'm going to divide by negative 8 because that gets rid of my best friend. But I have to do it to the same to the other side. So that's 1. Just a sec. Okay, so same over same is 1. So that's 1x equals, let's do that on our calculator. That's 24 divided by negative 8, negative 3. But we don't need the 1, so let's just write it, x equals. Okay, let's do 37, because it looks a little different, because there's no number in front of the x. So cut it at the equal sign to make the left and the right. And we say, what side is the x on? The left side. There's no best friend here, but there's a neighbor. So let's get rid of the neighbor because he's kind of far away. So there's nothing in front of the 15, so it's a positive 15. So what's the opposite of positive 15? Negative 15. So I go negative 15 on the left side and negative 15 on the right side. So 15 subtract 15 is 0. So now I have x. Oops, don't write x. It has to be negative x. So you have to put, I lose x. I lose x. 20 subtract 15 is 5. That looks weird. What's the only number that can hide? 1. So let's put the 1 in there. So my best friend is negative 1. So now I'm going to make the fraction negative 1 over negative 1. So to get rid of my best friend, but I have to do that to the other side. So same over same is 1. So that's 1x equals, and let's put that in our calculator, negative 5. But we don't have to write the 1. There, so x equals negative 5. So we did it the same way, even though this didn't have a number here, the 1 was hiding. It was okay, we just had to write that 1 in, and so we could see it was negative 1. Okay, let's do 39. No, let's do 38, because 38 has a 0 here, so it looks a little different. So we cut it at the left, at the equal sign to the left and the right. X is on the right, so I'm going to cover that. So 2 is the best friend because he's close. 18 is kind of far away, so it's the neighbor. Who do I get rid of first? The neighbor. So this is positive 18, so I have to do the opposite, negative 18. So I put negative 18 on the right side, so now I have to do negative 18 on the left side. So 18 minus 18 is 0. So now I have 0, but then I lose 18. I lost 18. And on this side, don't lose the negative. It says I lose 2. I lose 2x. So then I say, who's my best friend? 2 or 18? 2 is my best friend because he's close to the x. So I have to get rid of the 2. Don't just put 2. It has to be exactly the same. It has to be negative 2. Because it has to be exactly the same up and down. If I do it to this side, I have to do the same to that side. So 2 divided by 2 is same over same as 1. So I have x on this side. I don't have to write the 1. I can just put x. And this, well, because they're the same, I know it's going to be positive. So negative 18 over negative 8, negative 2, 9. Okay.